Global politics does not always shift with explosions or breaking news banners. Sometimes, it shifts with a single warning, as reports began to circulate, suggesting that Iran may be preparing for public executions. Within hours, the story moved from quiet diplomatic circles into mainstream global discussion. Public executions are not simply legal actions. They are deliberate performances of power. They exist to send a message, not just to the accused, but to the entire population watching. When a government prepares such actions, it is rarely because it feels strong. It is because it feels threatened. Iran today sits under intense pressure. Economic strain has reached historic levels. Public trust in institutions is fragile. And unrest, even when suppressed, continues to simmer beneath the surface. Trump's warning did something critical. It internationalized an internal decision. And once that happens, consequences follow. But why would Iran even consider such extreme measures at this moment? The answer lies deep inside the structure of power itself. Authoritarian systems operate on a simple principle: control must be visible. When persuasion fails, fear fills the gap. Iran's leadership has historically turned to harsh punishments during moments of instability. These actions are rarely spontaneous. They are calculated signals meant to restore authority. Today, Iran faces multiple internal challenges: a collapsing currency, rising food and fuel prices, a young population increasingly disconnected from leadership, growing frustration over social and political restrictions. Public executions, in this context, become a tool of intimidation. But fear has a shelf life. At first, it silences, then it hardens resentment, and eventually it stops working. History shows that regimes relying heavily on fear often mistake silence for stability. And this growing fragility is exactly why Trump's intervention matters more than it appears. Trump's foreign policy style has always favored public pressure over quiet diplomacy. His warning was not accidental, it was strategic. By speaking out early, Trump forced Iran's potential actions into the global spotlight. This changed the cost-benefit calculation overnight. Iran now faces a dilemma: act internally and risk international consequences, or delay action and risk internal perception of weakness. Trump's message also targeted international audiences, allies, rivals, and observers alike. It demanded attention, and attention creates accountability, whether regimes want it or not. But Trump alone cannot shape the outcome. The next moves depend on how the world responds. The global community now faces a difficult choice. Condemnation is expected, but condemnation without consequence often changes nothing. If nations apply too little pressure, Iran may proceed. If they apply too much, tensions could escalate dangerously. This is the diplomatic tightrope. Sanctions, isolation, and public statements all carry risks. And every action sends a signal not just to Iran but to other regimes watching closely. Moments like this test the credibility of international norms. Yet amid all these calculations, the most important consequences are felt far from diplomatic halls. Behind every policy decision are human lives. Public executions create lasting trauma. Families are shattered. Communities live in fear. For ordinary Iranians, political tension is not theoretical. It affects daily behavior, speech, and trust. Children grow up learning caution. Adults learn silence. These are consequences no statistic can measure. And history shows that repression plants memories that last far longer than regimes expect. So what happens when fear stops delivering control? Iran now stands at a crossroads. Proceed with executions and face global isolation, or pull back and risk internal dissent. Neither path offers stability. Trump's warning raised the stakes, but did not remove the danger. The future depends on decisions made in closed rooms and reactions beyond them. This is how tipping points form. Which brings us to the final and most important factor: public attention. Public attention shapes outcomes. When people watch, regimes hesitate. When people disengage, actions accelerate. This moment is still unfolding. And now, I want to hear from you. Do public warnings like Trump's actually prevent executions? Should global leaders increase pressure, or could that backfire? Is fear a sign of strength or the beginning of collapse? If you value like this video, subscribe to the channel, and stay informed because the world's most important stories demand attention.